Welcome back, one and all, to Random Gaming Ninja. Apologies for the long wait. It's been quite the interesting year, to say the least. So, this is Grounded. For those of you who are new here, I'll just start new. There's only 4 characters to work with so far. This is on the Xbox One. So, I'm going to go with Mild, which is the lowest difficulty. I know. Lame. Get good. All that. And then there's Medium. The difference between the top two is no friendly fire, friendly fire. So if you're going to play on Medium, keep that in mind. Watch out for your teammates. Woe is probably the hardest difficulty of all, being whether it's hard or very hard is up to you. Creative is okay, not bad if you're just looking to experiment on things. Fair warning, there's no bugs in creative. So prepare to be alone unless you have friends around to help you be creative. Let's get off on Mild and let's choose Pete. They all have their own degrees of commentary and dialogue. Max, I feel like, has one of the lower sets of dialogue, which is why I prefer him because of how many times I've had to start over. It's only because it's a pre-release. By the way, early access, pretty much. I'm on the Xbox One and it's still awesome. There's quite a few developments that have yet to be released to this version. However, let's choose Pete because I like him. Even though he has more dialogue options when it comes to like wielding items or tools. But my top favorite is Max, even though he's kind of a jock and he's not too bright, but he's still smart enough to survive in the backyard, I guess. This is a backyard of a random area. I don't know. It's a beautiful location. I really enjoy this game. It's awesome. So for those of you who are new to this game or interested in it, here's my take on a new playthrough on lower difficulty. Yes, I get it. I know I'm not a great gamer and all, but this is to showcase the awesomeness that is this game, regardless of your playthrough difficulty. So let's skip the intro. I'll let you figure out the spoilers on your own. I wonder what's been going on over here. 4 characters, but 5 slots. So, right, you start off with nothing. And when you first get into this game, you're going to want resources. Aphids will, food will come. You're going to need food, water, and all the good stuff that a survival game usually brings. So, step 1, you're going to want to go with the local mushrooms and just pick yourself up some food once that's part of your quest line or your starting tasks to complete, which will happen once you get at least this far along on the trail, because just down the trail is your first. So what do they call these? A field station. This is the first field station you're going to come across. You'll notice it's quite barren and abandoned. A lot of people have played this game, and if you prefer their content, that's perfectly fine. So, beginners, you're going to want to look around and pick up stuff like this pebblet, which sure, normal size, you just call it a pebble or just a speck of dust. But when you're this small and the world is that big, yeah, a pebblet seems appropriate considering the size difference. That aside, so quickly gather materials. You're going to need all these materials. Things to keep an eye out for at the very beginning is quite simply any hostile backyard critters, which you shouldn't find any right away. I guess that depends on your spawn of the game, but I feel like right now it's programmed for a little bit of ease of access. Mushrooms are a great early food when you're first starting because it's one of the easiest foods that is accessible to you right away. You'll notice I already have 9. These things will now have this red exclamation point. Since I have 3 of them, let me show you what happens at these field stations. You're probably curious at this point. Check this out. The ants will gang up on weevils no matter what. And it's sad, they'll take them down, but if you're fast enough about it, you can like stick around and try and gain the resources after they make the kill. They're gonna demonetize this weevil so fast, but it like depends on how much he stands still. You could take it out yourself, That's totally a thing. Oh, well, if you get in the way of their attacks, you're going to get hit by the ants. Oh, I jacked your stuff. Now I got a weevil nose and some recipes. So, a lot of people decide to build their first base on top of, you guessed it, the baseball. Makes sense, I guess. You know, it's got the word base in it. Why not build a base up here? It's actually a great idea. It's not that bad because here's what's going to happen. You're going to eventually build a storage container. And that's going to be in the utilities category, which will eventually pop up on your inventory and crafting. But to get that kind of stuff, first thing you need to do with all the things that you've found, take them to the little field station over here where it has an analyzer and research the things you've collected. This will unlock recipes that you are going to need. Pebblet axe, one of the first things you're going to wield. Crude rope, which used to be called woven fiber. And the final third item until it recharges, spiky sprig and trail marker. Trail markers are going to be epic in leading you around a vast map. Now, a lot of this area is under construction because of the pre-release status. So be mindful of where you go when you play. I have observed the areas that are outside the construction. Nothing's happening out there. It's undeveloped. All you're gonna find is a bunch of grass and dry grass and maybe some some plant fiber, sprigs, maybe some pebblets, but there's no critters out there. There's no food out there. There's maybe the select few mushrooms. So, all that aside, you're gonna come across this guy, whack him with a pebblet until you craft an item. Might as well take those things because they're on the ground. First thing you're gonna wanna do, let's craft some crude rope. Maybe one or two, depending on what you have. First thing I'm gonna make, pebblet axe. Totally necessary. You can get rid of the exclamation points by hovering over them. So, items like this, plant fiber. All throughout this zone. This little spiky bit in the ground, plant fiber. You're gonna need a lot of sprigs at first. Now that I have my axe, whoops, I threw a pebblet on the ground. I am actually gonna need that. To change items is the left button, and then you have to use the right stick. I have equipped my axe. There's a gnat who's running into me. Don't worry about the gnats. They don't do any damage on the easiest difficulty. I have no idea if they cause any kind of damage elseways. So, while you've got the benefit of the doubt on mild, other difficulties may prove problematic because gnats tend to run into you when you're in a menu or when you're just doing nothing and you've got you hit the select button on the Xbox controller and it brings up this menu. They'll start running into you out of nowhere. And I find it very rude. How rude, gnats. So you're gonna need a lot of plant fiber. Why are you gonna need a lot of plant fiber? Here's why. You're gonna need to craft quite a lot of a material called crude rope. This will be essential for a number of recipes, all available in the craft station. Status and mutations will come with things that you do at a constant rate. So, since I'm hungry, easiest thing to do. Mushroom's already in my hot slot. So I'll hit the left button, use the right stick, and go to mushroom. And there's those dialogues that I was talking about. Mushroom gives you the least amount of food at a time, but it'll at least fill you up. Next thing you're gonna wanna do, you can go barehanded or you can go with a rock or a hammer. Look at the tops of grass blades. Every once in a while, you'll find one with a water droplet like this. Pay attention to what's beneath it. You don't want it falling into a water puddle of some kind and disappearing. Whack, pay attention, and it destroyed itself on contact. Hit multiple surfaces. That's okay. Don't get upset. So, lose track of where you are, go to your map, there's a field station, and there's the baseball. you'll notice these little shapes right here. That's one of these things. Let me see if I can see it from here. No, let's get on top of a rock or something. That'll help out. Okay, this is one of the first machines you're going to come up across, called the Mysterious Machine. Part of the storyline, rather crucial, so keep that in mind. You can always use one of those trail markers, which don't cost that much. You set up a trail marker wherever you want to be able to get back to on the map. There's a lot of territory to cover because you are very small. So yeah, activating the button will continue the storyline. We'll get back to that later. Here is a gnat. I missed an opportunity there. Sorry, that's an aphid. So, what to do? Where to go? Well, that's up to you. And if you're wondering why I've been gone so long, I'll answer that in a little bit. Let's stay focused for the time being. We'll get back to that. I appreciate that you're willing to come back to me after I've been gone so long, so you have my thanks. So, you're just starting out, you're gathering all these materials, and you're gonna need some tools. Trust me, you're gonna want those. So I'll craft some more of that and make a hammer. Time to organize my inventory, I think. So I'm gonna put crafting materials down low, tools up high. That's just what I like to do so far in this game. Makes them easily accessible. Other things like food can go on this side over here or down here. Other things that I'm not using currently, I usually keep right about in the middle or whatever, depending on what I'm doing. So I have this weevil meat. I need to do something with that. It's raw, so obviously, duh, don't eat it. Unless you want to wind up with like food poisoning that'll take your health little by little. Let's see if I have a recharge on the station here. So it's only charged up twice now. Wow, good timing. Usually it says when it's going to have another one. But remember, this is still pre-release. Raw science. I love that. So, eye patch, acorn shovel, and the thing we already knew about sprig bow. Let's scan one more thing. How about gnat fuzz? Stuffed gnat. I'm sure that'll be like a trophy item. So it tells you the time in the top right where it says SCABOS. So if you keep track of the time, you'll know when the next charge will be available. To the top right when you're looking at the analyzer. So I like to build my base on top of the baseball just for a starter base, because nothing can climb the twig except for you. And there's mushrooms very close by for a continuous food source at the very start of the game. During the pre-release, it seems the rock is designated to go straight to your #1 hotbar at the very beginning of the game. Which is okay by me. I am not at all worried about that, but it's kind of glitchy for now. So until they can get that fixed, it just always auto-equips every time you find it so far. Not a huge issue. There's no glitches associated with it. I'm sure people are still hunting for those ever since the original glitch was found for this game, which was you would find a certain someone in the game who gives you quests, and then when you completed a quest, you could save and load your save file, and it would give you unlimited research science, or sorry, raw science. The points in the top right by your stamina bar, which is right next to your thirst, which is right next to your hunger, which is right next to your life, which is next to the time. Anyway, back to the point at hand. Starting. Now that you've got your tools, that's all well and fine. We need to find water because we are a thirsty boy. So let's keep our eyes open for some water. There it is right there. Let's hope there's no puddles nearby with which to lose track of this. So right there, this grass blade leading here. The water is there because this is not easy as it looks. Okay, it survived. Boom, slurp, full. Okay, awesome. That's one of the tutorials finished. Next, investigate the mysterious machine. Well, we might as well do that. You're a beginner, you want to get this game rolling. So, why wait? Just get started. That's perfectly fine. How else are you supposed to progress in the game if you don't get started? I like to collect things on the way just because they will respawn and it is totally worth your time. So, let me tell you a little something about the ants. The first time I played this game before it got to where it is now, I would always set my first location up on top of this rock, but you have to be careful with your storage units because the ants can still get to them. The ants will be a constant problem when it comes to storing things, whether it's in one of the first containers you get or one of the more advanced ones. You come up to this, you'll hit the X button on the Xbox, it'll activate it. Lasers. Wow, this one's glitching. This one's blocked by a grass pod. So let's go cut that down. It looks like they added some dialogue lines for this character because those were new for me. I hadn't heard those before. These are useful. Pick them up and stack them wherever you please until you make a pallet that can house them. Take one of these, however, back to the field station. These will be necessary. An awesome recipe to have, even for beginners. Because the first thing you're going to want is a base, somewhere to feel at least semi-safe. So, analyze. We got one charge available. We're hauling a grass blank. Let's analyze that. Raw science. We can make at least 4 different things, and the workbench is the one you want right now. When's the next charge? We're being hit by a gnat. Don't worry about it. Oh, we got the next charge. Let's do sap. Sap is important. Plant lamp and a sap sconce. Perfect. Awesome. We'll wait for the next charge. Let's take this grass blade here, or grass plank, back to where the rest of our planks are stacked. Because we're going to wind up building a base around this little machine here. And that'll be awesome. So, you're a beginner, and before night falls, let me tell you, there's a few things you're going to want to get going. So, first things first, bring your little pebblet axe and chop down some of these clovers. On the lowest difficulty, 2 hits. Higher difficulties, more hits. So far we've got the lean-to, which is a sleeping station, storage basket, and a clover table. Awesome. Let's only take what we need for now. No need chopping down stuff we're not going to use. Alright, first thing I prefer to do, I'm going to need pebblets. So rather than just going around collecting one by one, let's hit this pebble right next to this big old rock. And it's going to drop ones that are pickup and ones that just fade away. I don't care about gnats on this difficulty. They're a nuisance and it's annoying, but I'm not going to let it get to me because that's a waste of time. Waste of emotions. So you can clean up the top of this rock all you want. These things respawn. The one thing that I like to do right away is get over to utilities and build a lean-to, because this is going to be a popular spot for me. I'm going to be back at this machine a number of times. And whether or not that's you, that's okay. Set your respawn point wherever you'd like to spawn back up after you've been unfortunately demonetized by some creature of the backyard. Oh look, a ladybug. So those are big beefy tank boys. If you want to take them on, feel completely free to take them on if you want. My recommendation though, just be peaceful with them at first. They won't attack you unless you provoke them. Look, he's curious. The moment you hit them, it's on. It's like free for all. Oh my gosh, what is this? Aphid honeydew. I have never seen that before. A trio of aphid honeydew that hasn't been snatched up by the ants. Let me tell you, you're going to want that resource down the line. At first, it'll provide you a little bit of hunger and thirst, but we're talking like a sliver. Alright, so we chopped down the grass blade. Now, all that's left is to go to the other one, which is sporadically blinking. What are we going to do about that? Let me tell you what you would like to do about that. Whatever tool you prefer, craft it. You want it in your hotbar? You got to go to your inventory. Organize things however you prefer. And I'm going to equip this by pressing the A button on Xbox One. Boom. Slot number 3. So you can craft storage containers. Right away, your inventory is going to fill up pretty fast once you've gotten into a certain point. So you'll get a storage basket after you pick up like clover. However, it's the smaller portion of holding space versus the larger storage unit that you can find in the game. So craft a storage basket if you really need to. That's alright, that's perfectly fine. Or you can make your way over to the oak tree where there will be acorns, which you can smash with your pebblet hammer. It will get you shells, tops, and acorn bits, which will not rot. I find them to be the most useful food source in the game, aside from smoothies. But that's later on, once our equipment's had a nice little upgrade. And you've discovered enough things, researched them, it unlocks more and more as you go. So, objective number 1, check out this sporadic laser. Find out what the heck is going on. You're going to want a weapon at the ready, whether it's the axe, the hammer, or the spear. That's right, the hammer's not just a tool, it's a weapon. It's like a slow weapon that takes quite a bit of stamina, which you have, which is the blue meter that just recovered. I like to collect a lot of sap in the beginning because it is a vital resource for multiple reasons. It's great for making torches, but it's also great for making other things. Like over here on Health and Snack, you can make a fiber bandage. I like to make as many of those right away as I can. Boom. Now you'll notice there they are. If you don't want something in your hotbar, you just go over to your inventory and you can take it right off your hotbar and just put it wherever you want. So, with all that done, let's make our way over here. We're at the laser that was weak. Let's find out why. And in here you'll find mites, lawn mites, which they look like face huggers kind of. Not too big of a concern at this level of difficulty, so feel free to block and attack however you see fit. Alright, where are these guys? Oh, hello. 2 hits. That's all it takes. And this is an essential resource known as Mite Fuzz. You will need that for arrows and many other things like armor recipes. Alright, so trying to stay focused at the task at hand. The ones that are chewing on the wire will be 1-hit KO. The ones that are alive will be a 2. So, I'm going to need dry grass. Why, you may ask? Oh, by the way, pro strat, most enemies won't attack you while you're in water, unless they're big. If they're a big enemy, they'll come right after you. Unless it's a big puddle of water, you're out of luck. So, where do we need to go? Oh, here. There's dry grass, right over here. Chop whatever one you want. It'll drop some dry grass. Oh, I'm being attacked. Where are you at? Where are you at? Whatever. There's mites all over this area. We just got to pay attention. They are a threat, So left unchecked, they will do a lot of damage. See that? I wasn't even ready to block. My bad. All right. Now I should have what I need for the crafting station. In the tool area, there's a torch. 2 sprig, 1 sap, 2 crude rope, and some dry grass chunks. Boom. Torch immediately available. I like to go to my inventory and assign things to slots, because if you get your health down too far and you have to respawn, once you go back to collect your things, if you don't have these things tagged to certain areas, they'll just stay in your inventory instead of going to your hotbar. So keep that in mind if you want to grab your stuff and quickly have your things assigned to slots so you can quickly access them in the wheel. Moving on. Back to the objective. We need to get all the mites off of this wire. With our new torch in hand, we can wield 2 things at once. However, if you wield something that requires 2 hands, your torch will immediately go away. Where are you? There you are. Boom, 2 hits, done. I know it's hard not to do 3 hits at once because they'll make you panic depending on what you're like and how you react to small crawly things that are spider-like. As long as you don't freak out, you can maintain your stamina, which is going to be crucial against bigger predators. Or if they get stuck somewhere, that's even better, because the path of the AI, while still awesome, is sometimes outdone by its own accidental collision with the environment. Quartzite will be crucial for repairing more advanced tools, or if you don't have the materials to craft another one of your own tools, quartzite will be essential. So just, build a storage container and you'll be able to store that as much as you want. There's plenty of it, so I can always come back. You won't be able to dig up these things in the ground until you have a shovel, which comes from acorns, which you find at the tree. Down in this hole, there will be an upgrade to your wristband called the SCAB. Mite Rider is a theme of colors that you can apply to your wrist with the OS page with the select button on the Xbox One controller. It lets you pick your day mode and night mode colors. You can change it to whatever you want depending on the ones that you pick up off the ground throughout the game. Your choice. So we're going to leave this over on inventory. So yeah, you can pick that up. Take at least one of these for the research. I don't like slime mold torches except for making sconces in a house. Elsewise from that, I don't like them as torches because of their low lifespan. Now that all the mites are off of this wire, you will have to investigate the mysterious machine even further. Speaking of mysteries, the random ninja was away, as many of you may have noticed, hidden away from the world, gone without a trace for months. No video uploads. How sad. But I'm back. And what I did while I was gone, well, the world's pretty crazy right now. And I was busy getting married to my wife. Yeah, that was fun. We had a great time. My girlfriend of 6 years. I proposed to not too long ago. And here we are, married. And I can't tell you how much happier I am than I was before. She is totally worth it. We got to know each other over 6 years before I proposed, so we were already ready to be together. How things turn out for you in life is entirely up to you. That's just how our kind of situation unfolded. If you want to get to know someone and know whether or not you want to spend the rest of your life with them, I recommend spending as much time together as humanly possible, getting to know that person, and the rest will come naturally. So, as I said, you're going to want to set up multiple places that you can go to. Whoops, I got my torch out. Don't need that unless you're in a cave. They don't have a great lifespan to begin with, but it gets better. So, utilities, I need a lean-to, and we're going to build that as far over the edge as possible for a good reason, because we're making this like a miniature base of sorts. I like to respawn here. That's just me, but we're going to need to use that to sleep later. We also have one at the mysterious machine. So let's go investigate. And careful with long falls because you can take damage, as you just saw. Alright, what do we got here? Still waiting. 1802. We're pretty close. Let's just continue. Gonna need plenty of sprigs at first, so be sure to collect as many of those as you can find. Now, spoilers for the next part of the story. This machine, while mysterious, has quite the clear purpose once you get far enough in the game. Oh, malfunction? What's happening? Well, something blew up, I think. Hard to tell. Wow, that's a lot of ladybugs. So if you're careful enough and you keep an eye on them and they get in a fight with something, big and bad, you can take advantage. Because if their life bar goes all the way down, boom, that's free resources. So if you find them in a fight with something else, see what happens. They're pretty tanky. Sometimes they're the victor, and sometimes not so lucky. So it's almost evening. And I still want to get to the tree. I only have a couple of lean-tos over here. So, just in case, let's inspect. Craft, lean-to, cloverleaf. So we need 3. Easy. 1 clover going down. Boom. I have 3 clovers. I can now make the lean-to just in case. I will now head to the tree because there are some vital things out that way that we need, including acorn shells. Just this direction, in case you're wondering which direction, that is the north. So right in this area is this juice box, which per day will produce free, drinkable, slurpable little droplets, which provide a little bit of hunger and thirst. So that's going to be clutch moving forward. Lose track of something? Look straight up. Helps me orient myself, or just check the map and know that this is the tree right here. So you're going to want to go in a northward direction, which is easy to orient yourself once you memorize the map. See these roots? You know you're going the right direction. And really close by, just over this direction, which is west, by the way, northwest, there's another juice box. Check that out. Droplets already here. Watch my hunger. Boom, increase. Boom, increase. Every day. Puncho. Interesting. So let's go investigate the oak tree. There's also a lot of water droplets that droplet off of the tree down this path and wind up colliding with the puncho at the base. So there's always fluids here, always. And these tend to grow in shade, so any shady areas, you're usually gonna find sprigs. So at least take a few. It couldn't hurt unless your inventory's filling up, which it'll give you a notice for that. An aphid buddy. Hey buddy, don't worry, I'll snack on you later. Hammer out. Let's start gathering things. You're gonna want sap. Easy peasy, sap all over the place. Free shells and some acorn tops and bits will be littered about the place. These guys tend to attack weevils, but not really aphids. Watch out when you're swinging, because that could happen. That ant got right in front of me and one hit and they're aggroed to you. And then sometimes they come in mass, where groups of them are suddenly in one location. It's like spawning in the horde. It's not fun. And that is called a grub. So let's go to craft real quick and let me show you some tools. Acorn shovel. I can craft one right now. So what am I going to do with that? I'm going to go to my status bar here. Let's put this over here where the pebblet is. And we're going to hit equip. In fact, why don't I put this in slot number 4, even though that's intended for long-range weapons like the Sprig bow. So, can't see? Get a torch. I can build that lean-to whenever I want. Let's show you what the scrubs are about. Scrub the grub. Where'd you go? There you go. Boom. 1 free grub. You get grub hide. You know what else you get from grub hide over here? In the health and snacks, it's used for crafting a canteen which holds 2 droplets of any one fluid type. That includes the Puncho we saw and any of the other locations that have drinkables like that. So I've gathered quite a bit of sap and plant fiber. Let's go to health and snacks. Let's get some more of these. Bandages are your friend. You want to know why? I'll show you why. In this tree is your worst enemy, the wolf spider. There's also a lot of sap and other resources, but this is the home to the wolf spider. So I tend to build something here that keeps them at bay, at least most of the time. Grass wall. Pretty cheap resource, 3 grass blades. You can build it on the inner side or you can build it on the outer side. I like to build it on the inner side in case I need to enter this area. Why would you want to come in here? Well, easy. Because spiders are an excellent resource. See, when it was glitching out like that, that's a chance to build. Boom, like that. So once I'm finished with this wall setup here, it's going to be epic. Because the spiders won't be able to pass through it. And when it's glitching like this during the pre-release, you can actually place it because it'll turn blue for a second sometimes. Boom. Now I can build all those walls that the spiders have to break through, and then I have this little spot with which to shoot them. It takes quite a bit of damage. It's a very low-cost resource, and you can literally grab it from the bottom of the hill. Now, on to more important things. Climb the stick. Right here. You'll need this. Right up here. Nothing bad spawns up here. So I always take the opportunity to build a lean-to in this immediate area. Boom. Hold to build or press the X button to place one at a time. Let's sleep. Alright. I've used up most of my torch. I'm gonna need to craft another one. But what am I gonna do for now? Ooh, I better crouch before I fall off. Boom, got some sap. Now let's get some plant fiber. Let's get some of these bits, some of these shells. We're gonna need these shells. Oh, so many shells. I love it, I love it, I love it. This also gets our hammer out here. We're gonna need all these resources at the beginning because guess what? You can turn those shells in arm. Oh God, we are in trouble. We are in trouble, big trouble. Okay, that's the wolf spider. Take a fiber bandage, otherwise you're gonna die of poison. Whew. Well, we deserve that. Our respawn point is here on the baseball. And that's grounded, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Let's see if we can move to something else here before we run out of time. Well, unfortunately, we are all out of time. So let's get rid of some of these autosaves. Careful, I have multiple save games here. See, it says playthrough C29C or B9C4. I don't need this. Delete, create new, and I can see the difference between the two. 1 day, 6 hours, 35 minutes game time versus 24 days, 18 hours, and 18 minutes game time. So, now that I've done that, go ahead and quit. That creates a backup save. You're going to want to do that because of the pre-release. If you don't want to lose your stuff and start from the beginning, I suggest using the quit feature. It helps until this thing was fully fleshed out. Well, thank you all so much for coming back to watch Random Gaming Ninja. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button with your ninja star. And I am now going by Mr. Random Gaming Ninja, but only to those closer to me. So, with that said, farewell. I'll be in the shadows of games everywhere. Until next time.